Brought to you in part by Cranbrook Toyota. This is my brother, Boy, and he's got a habit of putting motors on the limiter. Blowing up two 22 REs, a 3.4, and he recently hydrolocked his 3-liter in this new build.
Alright, we are finally doing something a little more exciting than your average, like, 3.4, 3RZ, 2RZ swap. That grill's still in good shape. Zip ties. So what we're working on right now is removing the 3-liter because Boy's done with Toyota motors. So as I mentioned, we're doing something we haven't done before, which is we're actually LS swapping a truck for once, which is really exciting. Pretty much everything is just getting gutted from the front end of this thing. Hood off, fenders off, radiator out, airbox, battery, evap, everything to give us as much room to work as absolute possible. So on Toyotas, the whole core support isn't removable, it's all welded in place. So what a lot of guys do and what we just did is cut out the center there so that we can weld on tabs and reattach it later. But then this gives us all the room in the world to pull the motor and tranny at the same time. There. So now that the engine's out, decided to take the pan off to see what prizes you won.
Where'd this bolt come from?
That's a rod cap. One of those.
Oh, right there. There we go.
There's another rod cap bolt in the pan.
Oh, yeah, the longer one. Oh, it's
Bent.
a little.
I think this guy is probably the best trophy out of all of them. Whole broken connecting rod there, and all sorts of chunks from the block itself.
Found the problem. See, the dipstick reads 0 for oil, so there's no oil in it.
Oh, you just ran her out of oil.
It's a 2002 Chevy 5.3-liter engine. Cable driven, not drive-by-wire.
What we got here is one of them fan-dangly Chevy LS motors. As my brother was saying, we opted, tripping over things. Opted for the throttle body that is cable instead of the electronically controlled, just to make it a fair bit easier. The plan is to go from 5.3 LS to the R150 down there that actually came out of this truck. So what, those are just some Amazon special universal engine mounts?
Yes. For $28.95.
I see you got some creative bodywork going on. There's all sorts of foam on the ground and Bondo.
I'm trying to make it more buoyant for the next pond.
Oh, more buoyant.
It will float this time.
That's the idea. Boy also acquired a standalone harness that plugs right into the factory LS computer for this motor. So honestly, swapping this in, as far as getting it running, should be rather simple. The way we're going from LS to R150 is with a whole heap of advanced adapter parts from Summit. So they sell this bell housing, which is actually for a small block, I think, but apparently those work on LS motors. So this is a Chevy specific flywheel to convert an LS to a manual. So that's not specifically for a Toyota, and neither is the pressure plate. But what is specific for Toyota is the clutch disc right there. So that is essentially the Chevy outer with a Toyota spline on the middle. It also comes with a new clutch fork and throat bearing there. I think by law you have to do a burnout if you put an LS in anything.
By law?
Yeah, I think them the rules.
Gotta do that.
Yep, I agree.
Not these tires though. These are brand new. These tires are new.
Yeah, the Summit Racing Kit gives you this nice little spacer here that goes in the end of the crank that the pilot bearing that fits in there. So that guy will go in there, and then the end of that's got a little bearing that goes perfectly onto the toilet end. The most important part done, not on camera.
It was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
I still would have come up.
Yeah, I know.
In a lot of ways, the LS fits a lot better than the 1UZ does in these Toyota engine bays. Because the 1UZ has dual overhead cams and it's like 90 degrees head to head. They're so much wider than this. Like, this looks small in this engine bay. That being said, it may be smaller in width, but it is definitely a couple inches longer. When this engine was in the back of my truck on the way home from the junkyard, I did a quick measurement and it was almost 2 inches longer than the 1UZ. So radiator clearance will be an issue, but because this engine is smaller, the heads are smaller, they're actually able to scoot the engine back another inch from what I was able to do in my pickup.
Radiator does fit.
Yes, radiator fits, but the fans don't fit.
No.
Those Amazon special generic LS mounts actually work perfectly once they're trimmed down here with the Toyota frame. In my truck, with the 1UZ, I can't even put my pinky back behind the head. Here, my whole hand can fit. So that'll give you a good idea of like the difference in size. Yeah. It looks about the same room as mine, but I got a thicker rad. Yeah, it'll ultimately be a push style fan setup, just like my truck, because who knew packaging V8s in little Toyotas isn't so, I don't know, plug and play? Another issue that will come up in the near future here is oil pan clearance. The rear sump is well behind, but the front part of it, he's only got about an inch of up travel on the steering there before there's issues. So because the drivetrain is pushed back that couple of inches here, we got to offset that cross member. And the way we're doing that is with these plates made out of 1/2-inch steel. This will bolt into the factory locations, and then the cross member that's hanging there will get welded, offset on this plate. Somebody got a little crazy with the rattle can action.
They don't make automotive paint pink like that. Or that blue.
Why that color scheme?
Because it matches the door.
So the idea for the color scheme on the motor is so that it matches these retro like 90s vinyl decals that came on this truck.
Close enough.
Which is definitely close enough, yeah.
Like I said, it's the cleanest that engine's ever gonna be. I don't know, there's a pink one and all. I don't know. It shows an engine on the photo, so I'm assuming it was good enough for an engine. And this has a chair on it.
Oh yeah, that's practically a chair. You did, I see valve cover gaskets were done.
There's all new gaskets inside the rail, inside the injectors right here.
Something that seems tricky to find information on for the R150 to LS stuff is starter fitment. What starters actually fit in this? I think it's the third starter you've tried. So the stock Chevy one doesn't work. You need one that doesn't have the nose cone that comes out, and you need one that has staggered holes and is kind of stubby to kind of fit in there.
You gotta be able to clock it.
If this works, I'll list all the parts that we used in the description below so that you guys who want to do this with your own trucks can figure it out without all the guesswork. Looks like it fits. Oh yeah. That's the starter. As of right now, I have power going to starter, the block is ground, and I ran the starter trigger to the key inside the cab. So, well, let's see if it works. That was a crank.
Crank's over. So you do a couple cranks.
Yeah, give it a bit more. No engine harness on this whatsoever. As you can see, there's no coil plugs, there's no spark plugs, so there's no chance of it even firing here. This is just the starter connected to make sure that this engine actually turns over. And it does! Getting the Snapchat?
Yeah.
There seems to be an awful lot of confusion in my comments, specifically on Instagram where I've teased this thing. You guys seem to think that this is my truck. My truck is keeping the 1UZ. This is Boy's 89 Toyota pickup. It is also an 89, but yeah, just completely different route, different truck. So don't worry, the 1UZ ain't going anywhere. On the to-do list today, the engine is coming back out of its home. So I can finish welding up the engine mounts, and so that the engine can get cleaned up a little bit more because it's a little dirty.
Exhaust bolts. These two are snapped on this side. You gotta extract those two before we do custom headers.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Which is typical for these motors. In my 1-ton Chevy, it also has a snapped header bolt, which is why it's got the infamous the Chevy tick. The engine bay needs a good degreasing and cleaning too. I'm assuming you're not keeping that muddy. Oh.
Makes the engine pop that much more.
It makes the engine pop? Yes, it does.
Not a show truck.
It's not a show truck. Nothing we build on the channel is like a show truck. That is not a show truck either, but it is pretty.
I like that one.
You like that one? I could show that one.
You can show that one. This one has my approval for public seeing it.
You want me to zoom in on it?
Yeah.
Are you proud of it?
That's a good weld.
Yeah, looks good.
Good enough.
So I got this stud out of the head pretty easily. All I did was this. I built up a little bit of weld on the stud itself, and then you put a nut over top, and then just fill the berry to the inside of the nut, and that should be good to come out. Oh, it's coming. Easy, just like that. Was a stud, and now it looks like a bolt. So is this thing gonna start today or what?
Might just run for 5 seconds until the immobilizer says no.
This is a standalone wiring harness for an LS motor. It goes straight to the factory computer. The factory computer, however, has an immobilizer in it, meaning it won't let it run. But Chevys, when they have the immobilizer, it's not like Toyota where it just won't start. It'll start for a few seconds and then kick off. That is the goal. We'll need to get a tuner to come and play with the computer and get rid of the immobilizer in it, but that is a future problem. Last night we did get the engine in its final home. I built this bracket this morning for the throttle cable that it just uses the factory Toyota throttle cable. It's all mounted, the transmission's in its place, the slave cylinder has a line here. Pretty much we're on to fuel lines, some coolant lines, a bit of wiring to do, so I need to make a starting harness so that the Toyota ignition can start this motor. And yeah, put the standalone in and it should be plug and play, I think. So as far as the gauges go, Boy opted for what, some aftermarket gauges?
Oil and water.
I'd say that worked.
Fires. It runs.
Runs good. Got to hear it again.
I gotta hear it again. This is too cool.
Guess what just showed up in the mail? Headers! These are block hugger headers. These are literally eBay specials. They were $100. So, yeah, let's see how they fit.
Yeah, it's taking the Sawzall right across the factory 3-liter mounts right here to cut this corner off because this flange hits.
Yeah, that little nubbin right there on the factory engine mount is what is causing interference issues. So if we cut it across like that, we should, in theory, be clearing.
Right?
Yeah. Looks like that notch was exactly what we needed. Clears the steering, now it clears the engine mounts, and it's in a pretty good spot down here to drop down and do a crossover somewhere and send her back. So the header for the other side doesn't quite fit right. So now we're on to influencing it by fire. Is it time?
Well, we're gonna see what she sounds like.
In case you can't tell from inside the engine bay, you got a little 5.3 badge on the outside.
Well, you never tell when the hood is on, so
No.
people gotta know.
No, because it definitely won't sound like.
No, it does not sound like it. It sounds like a straight pipe Tacoma.
People are gonna think that it's 3-liter. But we got more exciting things going on.
I got a drive shaft though.
Got a real drive shaft for it.
The rear drive shaft's in, and it's time to go for a wee bit of a drive. Still no cooling system whatsoever, so it's quick out, but
Or power steering.
or power steering. Yeah, we just want to feel it out, you know?
Feel it. Yeah. Good.
Yep. £45 of oil pressure. That's nice. Yeah, it's got some power.
That thing's ridiculous.
Way more power than the 3-liter had.
That thing's ridiculous.
Holy, that thing just goes.
Hey, we're trying to film. We're trying to film. You wanna tell me about your art?
Oh, it's a well system. It's a well drop 90 and just made it work.
If you can't tell, Boy is a plumber, so the cooling system is made out of
Well drop
plumbing parts.
materials. Yeah, plumbing parts.
Just like the 1UZ, we have the 1KZ 3-row diesel radiator. There is two 10-inch pull fans up here in the front, sucking air into the engine bay. You just went to a hydraulic line shop, essentially, and
Yeah.
went, I need to go from
This fitting.
Toyota to that, yeah.
And they
This
just-
fitting to that, and they just made the custom line or adapter?
Yep, custom hose.
Custom hose with an adapter there, and yeah, so it's going from Chevy power steering pump to a Toyota power steering box. Where's it going?
Muffler shop.
Muffler shop.
It's a little loud.
It is a little loud, but that means we get to go for an actual drive.
Get the money right on cue. Keep the duffel bag up inside my coupe. Hold a couple racks, tell them I love you. You wanna be a boss, do it like I do. Get that money, I'ma flex. I get that money, I'ma flex. I get that money, I'ma flex. You now rockin' with the best.
What are you looking at?
Check out what's back from exhaust. This thing is actually really quiet at idle, but if you give it the beans, it definitely sounds like she's got some jam. So now, I think you guys know what time it is. Front row, Reggie. Is it hot?
No.
Currently, there's no overflow for the coolant, and it just blew out of there all over the motor. So that's why she got a little smoky.
A little more powerful than 3-liter was.
Just a little.
Just that much. Not a huge difference.
Yeah. Is it worth it?
Oh yeah, a couple more little adjustments on the clutch, but it
Yeah.
still works.
The clutch is kind of being a pain in the butt. It is slipping a little bit here and there. We've done a bunch of adjustments. We just need to play with it a bit more. So yeah, that is an LS swap and a Toyota pickup. It fits. It's definitely doable, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do me a huge favor, hit that thumbs up button, and hey, consider subscribing. I upload weekly Toyota, building, wheeling, and off-roading content. Anyways, we'll catch you next week. Peace.